and girls, and welcome back to BackAlly Horror. I'm Ali and this is the home of all things horror. This week is Sharkweek and it is my favourite time of the year apart from Halloween. I absolutely love sharks. Like, I'm obsessed. So in honour of Sharkweek I'm going to do a couple of videos, and my first video is going to be top 10 shark movies. This took a lot of time to try and decide which ones were in my top 10 and which ones weren't. And I picked the first 7 like really easily. The last 3 was like starting to go into bad shark movie territory at this point. But it's my personal top 10. Guys, let me know your top 10 in the comments and what you think of my top 10, and we'll discuss it down in the comments below. There is also a link in the description below to my new Sharkweek t-shirt, which has just been launched, which is in the corner, and also my Sharker stack, which is also in the corner, which has been up for a few months now and is selling awesomely. Everyone seems to love that, so go check these out along with other merch if you're over there, which the link will be in the description below. So with no time like the present, let's get swimming. So at number 10 we have The Reef. The Reef was the director's second feature film, his first being Blackwater. I want to apologise now for the fact that I'm not saying names. My dyslexia and stutter really makes it really hard for me to pronounce certain names, so I'm not even going to attempt some of them because it's just going to be too hard and you guys are just going to laugh at me. Epic fail. Anyway, so the film is about a group of friends who capsize while sailing to Indonesia. The group decides that their best bet for survival is to swim to the nearby island, but they find themselves stalked by a great white shark. The movie is based on a true story of Ray Boundy, who was the sole survivor of a similar incident in 1983. This movie is one of the only Australian-made shark movies with footage from Australia and its reefs. The reefs in Australia are where most American movies like Jaws and Open Water get their shark footage from. However, this is the first Australian filmed shark movie. So why is Reef at the bottom of my list when everyone seems to love it? The reason it's at the bottom for me is because it's just too predictable. The shark footage, really good. It's all practical, it's all real footage shot in Australian reefs, so that is a really good positive for this movie, and that's the only reason why The Reef made it to my list, was because of the shark footage. I'm a sucker for really good shark footage in shark films. I hate CGI shark movies, so in that basis this film is really good. However, the acting was just a bit stale for me, and I didn't really like the love connection scene. It was just like pointless for me, and again, because of that, meant that the story was then too predictable, just underwhelming. By the end of it I was sat there like, is that it? So on to number 9. On to number 9 is 47 Meters Down. People might be surprised that this is so far down on the list, but there's reasons behind that. So 47 Meters Down is a 2017 survival horror film directed by Roberts and starring Claire Holt and Mandy Moore. The plot follows 2 sisters who are invited to cage dive while on holiday in Mexico. When the winch system holding the cage breaks and the cage plummets to the ocean floor, with the 2 girls trapped inside, they must find a way to escape with their air supplies running low and great white sharks stalking nearby. The ending is why this film is so far down. I loved this film. Trying not to give too much away, there are kind of 2 endings to this movie, and ending 1 I thought it was great. I did think obviously it's a bit over the top and unlikely, but I still thought it was great, and if it ended there I would have been like, this one would be one of my new favourite shark movies. But then they went to ending 2 and I didn't like it, and I thought, oh well, that's completely different to ending 1. That's really like set me up high and now you've dropped me down low, and because of that ending I've not been able to get over how disappointed I felt at the end of 47 Meters Down. The acting is great. It was nice to see Claire Holt back on the big screen again. Absolutely loved her when I used to watch her as a child in H2O, Just Add Water. So the concept I thought was a decent one, and the fact that Claire Holt's character was a diver, so she knew what she was doing but her sister didn't, was a good opposites in regards to survival situations and how one person covers all bases. But number 9 on my list, 47 Meters Down. So on to number 8 is Spring Break Shark Attack. It is a 2005 joint South African and American made-for-TV thriller film, and it was the brainchild of executive producer J.J. Jameson, who wrote the initial story and sold it to CBS. During spring break, when a pack of tiger sharks begin a feeding frenzy on partying teenage bathers during Florida spring break, the only safe place is up on the beach far from the water. Fighting for survival, a group of co-eds must attempt to outsmart nature's perfect predators. So, I saw this just one random day when I was like 11 on ITV, and I fell in love. I loved the fact that it was tiger sharks instead of great white sharks, because in the shark films it's always great white sharks are the killers, and tiger sharks are just as bad. There are a few discrepancies in the but they're mentioned, so that it's kind of like they know that these discrepancies are in here, but they know they're also making a really extreme shark movie, so that's why they've mentioned their own discrepancies. The acting is B. I mean, it's a straight to TV movie, so I'm not expecting A-star acting, and the characters, to be honest, were all well thought out and everything like that, and this dude here is just a knob. It's just a really good fun shark movie to watch, and it's consistent all the way throughout. It's not the best, but it's a consistent enjoyment for me anyway. Number 7, we have 47 Meters Down Uncaged. 47 Meters Down Uncaged is a 2019 survival horror film directed by Roberts again, and is a standalone sequel to 47 Meters Down. The plot follows a group of girls who scuba dive into a sunken mining city, only to be trapped by a group of sharks that are swimming in it. The great white sharks in this movie are blind, having evolved within the caves. This means that their hearing is twice as good. I really enjoyed this one. I thought the concept of going down into Mayan City was interesting. Not something that's really been done in a shark movie. It's usually you go into a cage and you're shark diving and then something happens with the cage. Concept of having to go into a Mayan city, I was kind of like at first, like, how are you going to incorporate the sharks in that? But then I really enjoyed the fact that we had evolved great white sharks that were stuck in these Mayan caves. It had a lot of like kind of jump scares, in the sense you never knew when the shark was going to come. Like every now and then someone would turn around and the shark would be there, and I'd be, oh, but no. The deaths in this are really fun to watch as well. The acting is above average for some, average for the others. I didn't predict the end, and it sends you on a roller coaster of like 1 minute you think something's going to happen, the next minute something else happens, and it's an all-round really good film. And now we're at 6, and that is Shallows. Shallows is a 2016 American horror film, and it stars Blake Lively. In the film, a surfer gets stranded 200 yards from shore and must use her wits and determination to survive a great white shark attack. I really enjoyed this one. It was a lot more slow and subtle, tracking the shark's movements, and it's circling her, so she's timing it, so she knows how long she's got to escape and stuff like that. And I think that's a really good way of doing things, and I think it's like a really good survival shark film. Most of the time we see shark films and they're all panicking and they don't really think about how to survive from a shark and how to get out of the water. They just like kind of go for it and hope for the best. This is a little bit different. This is where she is really trying to survive. This is like, it is a life or death situation, and she treats it like this one. Blake Lively's performance in this is masterful. It's brilliant. Everything I would expect from Blake Lively. The shark footage was really good as well, and I really like the fact that we got some air jaws in this film, because we don't usually get a lot of air jaws in shark movies, so that was really cool. Before we carry on with the halfway, I want to mention 2 honourable mentions that didn't kind of make it to my list because, well, let's make a shark come out of it. The reason this isn't on my list is because it's my guilty pleasure, and it's full of really rubbish CGI sharks and goblin sharks and terrible acting, cheesy lines, really bad effects in regards to the attacks and everything like that. It's not worth being at my top 10, but I absolutely love this film, so it needs to be mentioned. So, and the second honourable mention is The Meg. I didn't like this because I thought half of it was really good and I thought the second half was a bit over the top and went against the history that we know of the megalodon. And I like shark movies to be historically correct in regards to how they treat the sharks and how the sharks would behave, unless they're stating otherwise. It was average. It was a fun watch, but could have done better for sure. And I'm not sure why they're doing a second one, but they are. Now we're back to our top 5 shark movies, and this is where things started to get a little bit tricky for decision wise. So at number 5 we have my new found love, which is Darktide. Darktide is a 2012 American action thriller directed by John Stockwell. The film stars Halle Berry, Oliver Martinez and Ralph Brown. The plot follows a shark expert whose business has been failing since a shark incident on her watch. Once dubbed the Shark Whisperer, Kate is haunted by the memory and is unable to get back into the water. With her bills piling up and bank about to foreclose on her boat, her estranged husband presents her with a lucrative opportunity to lead a thrill-seeking millionaire businessman and his teenage son on a dangerous shark dive outside of the cage. Kate accepts the proposal and sets a course for the world's deadliest feeding ground, Shark Alley. So why do I love this dubbed, really terrible shark movie that everyone seems to hate and got a really bad score on Rotten Tomatoes, and the critics said it was terrible? I love this film because it's amazing. That's like the only way I can say it. The acting is really good. I thought the story between the husband and wife was a bit overstretched, and they could have chopped some of it out to make the film a bit shorter, but that's just like a minor issue. The shark footage was real footage and it was great. The fact that Halle Berry did some training in regards to being a shark whisperer, she also did some diving, so that was fun as well. And so some of the shots of her in the water were real shots with sharks. She actually managed to touch one of the sharks she shot with, which I think was also really cool. It gives some authenticity to the film. The concept of this millionaire really wanting to go cage diving, but outside the cage to see sharks, and she's so adamant that she's not doing it, it's too dangerous. And then she's like, well, you know what? You want to see big sharks? We'll go to Shark Alley. You want to swim outside the cage and you've got these big kahunas that you say you've got? Let's go put them to the test. And she puts them to the test and things happen. And I think, you know what? Great movie. Great story, great action, great footage, great shark movie, and I don't see why it gets the hate that it does, but it does. So I really recommend this shark film, Darktide, Halle Berry. Next up at number 4 we have 12 Days of Terror. The 12 Days of Terror is a 2004 television film based on a true story, and it revolves around the 1916 Jersey shark attacks, in which a juvenile shark, great white shark and a bull shark begins a series of attacks that takes place over the course of 12 days in New Jersey. I like this film because of how much it is based on true facts. I think it's just really well portrayed in regards to showing the history of what happened. Whoever turns around and says, we know what happened, this is it. And it just leads you to kind of guess for yourself, but portrays one of the most horrific incidences in regards to shark attack history in America. The film stars John Reef Davis as well, which I love him as an actor. He's amazing. So the acting is kind of really good, like A-star acting, because the actors that they have got. The story is really good, and it's just a really good historical shark film that gets the points across of the history, but also gets the points across of a movie as well. You're not sat there bored thinking, oh, I'm watching a history lesson right now. It's really, the sharks look really good, the attacks are decent, and it's just a really good horror shark movie. It's always been one of my favourites ever since I saw it on TV. Now we're into the top 3. So at my third spot we have Jaws 2. Jaws 2 is a 1978 American thriller, and it is the sequel to Steven Spielberg's Jaws, the second installment of the Jaws franchise. The plot concerns Chief Brody suspecting another great white shark terrorizing the fictional seaside resort of Amity Island, following a series of incidences and disappearances, and his suspicions are eventually proven correct. I love Jaws 2. I think it's one of the best shark sequels ever, and the fact that it's not done by Spielberg himself as well, it's still really good. I like the story more than Jaws, but Jaws is done better, so that's why this is below Jaws for me anyway. I like the fact that there's more at risk, in the sense that Brody's got to go and rescue like all the children that are sailing. Saw some really good shots of the shark as well. I mean, that still has some mechanical issues like the first one did, but the shots in it where, you know, the shark's under the water and it's coming up and it's terrifying. Some great shots in there. Some of the kills are really good as well. Some of my favourite kills are in that movie. Overall, it's a really good sequel, and if you want like 2 really good shark movies just to like set you off for Sharkweek, Jaws and Jaws 2, you just can't. There's nothing wrong with them at all, in my opinion. The acting is great. Good to have Chief Brody back, and his family are still involved again, and I feel like even though his family are involved again, it makes sense for his family to be involved because they're still on Amity Island and everything like that. An amazing sequel, and I absolutely love this film. It's amazing. Last 2, guys, bear with me. I know this is a really long video and I'm probably repeating myself a lot of times, but we're getting there. So at number 2 on the list, and this was really hard to decide which one should come first and which one came second, but I can't do you guys dirty. So at number 2 is Deep Blue Sea. Deep Blue Sea is a 1999 American science fiction horror film directed by Rennie Harlin. Set in the isolated underwater facility of Aquatica, the film follows a team of scientists and their research on mako sharks to help fight Alzheimer's disease. The situation plunges into chaos when multiple genetically engineered sharks go on a rampage and flood the facility. Amazing film. Second best shark to Jaws. Like, since Jaws came out, they didn't do any good shark movies, and then this bad boy came along and it was fabulous. Why do I love it? Acting. The acting is amazing. Like, all of them. Thomas James, Samuel L. Jackson, LL Cool J, the parrot, the sharks. Fabulous. A star plus. The fact that they are genetically engineering sharks for Alzheimer's also means that when they do things like a shark swims backwards or it smiles, well, looks like it smiles, that's understandable because you've genetically enhanced the shark's brain to try and produce a drug to help fight Alzheimer's. So yeah, makes sense that they could do something that an ordinary shark could not do. So that ticks that story plot right there. The fact that they're in an underwater facility that's going to flood and break, and they've got to try and get up, and there's a fire on the top, so they've got to try and go certain places in certain ways, and amazing. Loved it. We've got real life footage of sharks in this film, which is amazing. Again, love it when they do a bit of real life shark footage. We've got robotic sharks and practical effects, which again I love. There's only a few minor CGI points in this. The plot, the storyline is really good. I didn't expect to see people die that did die. I didn't expect to see people live that did live. On to number 1. I don't know if you guys could already guess which one number 1 is. I don't know. Maybe it's Jaws. It's Jaws! Right. So, as we all know, Jaws is a 1975 American thriller film directed by Steven Spielberg, based on the 1974 novel by Peter Benchley. In the film, a man-eating great white shark attacks beachgoers at a summer resort town, prompting Police Chief Martin Brody to hunt it with the help of marine biologist Hooper and professional shark hunter Quint. There's not much to say to you guys as to why I love this film, because everyone can be in agreement that Jaws is one of the best shark movies out there. It is one of the best horror movies out there. It's one of the best creature feature films. It's just one of the best Steven Spielberg movies, one of the best John Williams scores. It's just fabulous. Why is this fabulous? Because everything went wrong. That's why it's fabulous. The shark, good old Bruce, didn't work. And because of that, we had to get a new script. And because of that, we got to see less of the shark. And because of that, this film was absolutely terrifying. All we had to go on was John Williams. That's all you know when the sharks come in. And that was enough to scare the living creepers out of me when I was 8 years old. Hooper, Quint, and Brody are amazing. Their chemistry on set, the fact that you've got this hard nut, sciencey dude, and then this chicken ass shit who also is a police officer in a sense, on a boat together trying to kill a great white shark. Well, catch and kill a great white shark is just amazing. Love it. The kills in this, they're very few, but the ones that are there are fabulous. They're really well done. All practical effects again, and it really shows this is just an amazing classic. You just cannot beat this movie. It is phenomenal in every sense of the word. So guys, this is my top spot for Sharkweek, my top 10 movies, and this is number 1, Steven Spielberg's Jaws. Are you guys surprised that this is my top 1? Because I wasn't, and I don't think you guys are, to be honest, either. So thank you for listening to my top 10. I know it's a really lengthy video, but thank you guys for hanging in there. Let me know in the comments below what your top 10, top 5, top short films are, and what you thought of my personal list. Again, this is my personal opinion on what I think, so you know, if you don't agree, let me know, but let's be friendly about it. Don't forget to check out the link in the description below for all the social media links and merch pages. Click that like and subscribe button. Until the next video, guys, stay horrid.